Record. Okay, it is recording. Perfect. And now we are, okay, does everything seem and sound okay? Someone is helping us. We have an assistant. Yes, Jules is helping us. Okay, we're just gonna get the confirmation from him that everything sounds good, and then I'm gonna start asking you many questions.
Okay.
All good.
All good? Okay, awesome. Hi, Asti. Again, thank you so much for doing this. I really, really appreciate it. Why don't we start with just, can you let us know who you are, introduce yourself, and so that people know?
Okay. My name is Asti. I work as HIV prevention officer for UNFPA. UNFPA is one of the United Nations that focusing on women's health and rights, and for those who are like left behind. That includes sex workers. That's why now, in addition to work as HIV prevention officer, I also work as female sex workers officer for UNFPA.
UNFPA, amazing. Okay. So, the way that I was introduced to you was through Nurlan Silitonga, right? So
Yes.
for people in the audience, Nurlan is the founder of I guess just like a reproductive health clinic called Angsa Merah, right? Here
That's
in
Angsa
Indonesia.
Merah is sexual health clinics.
Right.
In Jakarta, I also work as a counselor there.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I know Nurlan very well since a long time ago, and I'm a full-time worker at UNFPA, but like once a week I work as a counselor at the Angsa Merah Clinic.
Okay, yes, amazing. So the reason why I bring that up is because, well, first of all, even before I go there, our project, the Love Lost Dolls, we are working with OPSI, right? As a sex work charity that we want to partner with so that we can provide and donate some of our sales to OPSI, and you are helping with explaining the mission, explaining everything about OPSI, you're not directly working in OPSI, right? But your organization also supports OPSI, so I'd love to know. I'm trying to understand. I want to show like what your background is as well. But really quickly about Angsa Merah, I just remember when I first went there for my own, like a consultation for myself, I was very surprised and very pleasantly surprised by what a sex positive and like safe environment it made me feel. So I would love to hear what your experience working at Angsa Merah or with Angsa Merah as well.
Yeah, it started. I knew Nurlan, the founder of Angsa Merah, before Angsa Merah was launched. That time, we have a similar vision to have um, a clinic for everybody that not non-judgmental, that will be safe space for everyone that come there, and we really want to mainstream healthy sexuality, to yeah, we always deal with taboo and also a lot of stigma when we
Yeah.
are talking about sex, and people sometimes afraid to seek for information with regard sexuality. That's why when Nurlan asked me to join that clinic as a counselor, I'm really happy to do that. And there I experienced nothing but good things,
Yeah.
because I met a lot of people. I met young people. I met people from gender diversity group.
Mm-hmm.
So um, and I often got a lot of feedback saying that they are pleased
Mm-hmm.
because um, this is actually a bit when I'm hear this, I feel honored because they trust us, they trust
Mm-hmm.
me, we feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I felt all clinics should be like that.
Yes.
All clinics, yeah. So even though they are appreciate the way we approach them, the way we accept them, um, and the way we really taking privacy as a serious matter.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I can say that both Nurlan, myself, and other colleagues in Angsa Merah,
Mm-hmm.
we are really want to make more and more clinics like
Mm-hmm.
Angsa Merah.
Mm-hmm.
So like incubator for more clinics so that uh, many peoples, not just in Jakarta, not just in big city,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but all over Indonesia could experience like counseling,
Mm-hmm.
asking for information, asking for a lot of things about sexuality in non-shameful way,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and um, that's actually the vision that we have until now. That's why we really hoping that more and more clinics like Angsa Merah can be established in Indonesia. We
Yeah.
also do the talk like this through Angsa Merah Instagram talk.
Okay.
Uh, so to reach a lot of people out there who still in doubt or who still afraid
Yeah.
to seek for information or to seek for HIV test,
Yeah.
STI test, or just to have a regular checkup
Yeah.
on reproductive health. So I'm happy that I connected with you, Katie, because that's another way I think we can reach more people
Absolutely.
out there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time fighting the stigma. At the same time, introduce the healthy sexuality,
Yeah.
introduce the safer sex, but also the healthy side and the
Yes.
happy side of sexuality.
Yes. Okay. I love that. That's amazing. So I just wanted to quickly touch on like first my gratitude for
Mhm.
what you and Nurlan and your other colleagues have created with Angsa Merah because I was really blown away by how amazing it was going there. And yeah, I felt very well taken care of and I felt very safe. And I just feel very grateful that there are clinics like that here in Indonesia because of all the stigma, right? Which I would love to like get more into speaking about OPSI. But first, can you tell me how did you get connected with OPSI and a little bit of the background of OPSI as well?
Yeah. So OPSI is a community-based organization. There are sex workers-led organization in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
I first met OPSI when I was conducting research on violence and female sex workers in Asia Pacific. So when that time I'm working as a HIV prevention officer for UNFPA, but UNFPA Indonesia is having like multi-country study on
Mm-hmm.
female sex workers and violence.
Wow.
And because we really want to see the issues in Indonesia, and at the same time, we also want to building the capacity of this organization, this
Mm-hmm.
community-based organization. That's why we work with OPSI
Mm-hmm.
to conduct this study. So it was 2015,
Mm-hmm.
7 years ago, and that time I met OPSI for the first time, and since that time we OPSI and UNFPA and also myself, not just as UNFPA staff, but like as a individual personal who support sex workers. I also work for them. So we've been in a lot of activities together. It's there is a couple of study, peer-led study, activities related to advocacy. We also did like march together during Women's March, and we also did awareness raising on intimate partner violence, gender-based violence, sex workers' rights. So it's been exciting work with them, especially because they are a community-led organization. So those who work for OPSI is actually all sex workers, female sex workers, male sex workers, and also transgender sex workers. And they are also what I respect from this organization. They are organic because they are like community-based organization, but they also has transparent and accountable system within themselves. So they are being audited every year.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are also work with couple of donors, international donors, the UN. So I think I'm honored to have the opportunity and also the experience working with them.
Yeah.
I often learn new things every day when I'm with them.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, when you said that it's community led and it's sex worker led, are the leaders, and you said they're female sex workers, male sex workers, and transgender sex workers, are they current sex workers, or is it like are they only focused on the OPSI work now?
Well, actually, there are two kind of memberships within OPSI. One, first one, of course, those who are still working as sex workers, so actively working as sex workers. And the second one, those who are once work as sex workers, but because they are old or
Okay.
any other reasons they are stopped, but they are still want to support female sex workers, male sex workers, and transgender sex workers community. So in OPSI there are two membership, and I can see previously I said to you that the reason of some former sex workers are no longer working as sex workers because they are old. But in reality, also in OPSI, I met a lot of sex workers who are still working as a sex workers. So from like the wide range of age,
Yeah.
so from young, and also that's why I think I don't really want to like to group based on age.
Yeah.
But I think it's on active current sex workers and also former sex workers.
Amazing. Cool. Yeah, good for anyone that's still working no matter what age, right? So what do you think the benefit is for it to be community led versus, I guess, not a community led organization? What does that mean if it is community led? Like, what are the pros around that?
The pros, first of all, I think sex workers do it better because they are sex workers. They knows their issues. They are the one who experience being sex workers in the first place. So I think in addition to they know their issues, they also now know best how to handle and how to address challenges. And when they advocate, for example, for their health, I think um, no one can speak as louder and as clearly as sex workers themselves.
Yeah.
So I think this is the one of the pros that really powerful. Um, being sex workers, and when you are working as sex workers and you fight for your rights, I think no one can no one can deny, even though in very conservative society,
Yeah.
when sex workers stand up and speak up their experience, people just couldn't deny it. People cannot like close their eyes because someone in front of them tell a really uh, a powerful story that really happening, and yeah, it just cannot be. I know that a lot of organization, non-community, also work for sex workers, and that's really good. I'm happy to say that I also work with a lot of non-government organization, many non-government organization that also focusing on HIV issues, focusing on female sex workers community. But often we know that, including UN, our place is as an ally, not as the one who will speak for the sex worker community. So I think the best way is always put the community on the driver's seat.
Yeah.
So we are supporting them. We are providing capacity building. We are providing link to information, treatment. But I think the one who know best how to address the issues is the sex workers themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you think as a sex worker, especially in Indonesia? What do you think their biggest challenges are? Like, what is their biggest struggles that they face here?
Yeah. First of all, the regulation.
Okay.
Um, in Indonesia actually we don't have one regulation that criminalize sex workers. The one who will be criminalized is actually the pimps who sell or who facilitate the sex work transaction. But for sex work themselves, it's actually no regulation that criminalize them.
Okay.
However, due to the rise of conservatism, and the interpretation of the law, and also the local regulation that back in like past 10 years is getting more and more doing their local regulation on closing brothel closure. So close all the brothels. We know the biggest brothel complex in Asia, Doli in Surabaya, East Java. It was closed, and after that, I think in all over Indonesia, many district, city, and also province start to close the brothels with the assumption that when we close the brothel, sex work will stop.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it didn't happen like that. It didn't work like that. Whenever people needs for sex, there will be sex workers, right? So I can see the downside of the brothel closure local laws, local regulation, is that sex workers is then being harder and harder to reach because now they are working on their own, and at the same time they are increasing risk of violence.
Right.
Because if you work in the brothel, then you have your pimps, you have your peers, you have the security system that will protect you. Although I know that brothel is not always a good place also for sex workers. There's still a power dynamic there. But at least you're not working at your own. There are someone who checking on you, security who checking on you, and when you working around as sex workers, I heard many reports that they are prone, the sex workers are prone to violence, and many sex workers reported their clients don't want to pay, especially when their clients are drunk. They're just after they have sex, they just leave, and when the sex work ask for their money, and they will beat the sex workers. So I often heard that. So the risk of violence is getting higher. The risk of not getting money that they supposed to have is higher. And I think for the program, like I'm working for UNFPA to reach out for these sex workers, to provide them with health education and support HIV test, STI test. Is now become harder because in the past they are gathered in brothels, but now they are on their own.
Right.
It's good when they are meet with the outreach worker, but if they're not, then and because of the stigma, they even though they have they want to check up for their health, it doesn't mean that they will go to the health service providers. So this is the downside of the effect of the impact of the brothel closure. So this is another challenge faced by sex workers in Indonesia. And another challenge is currently we also have we are living in the pandemic, right? And I know that many people were impacted by COVID, but sex workers is one of the community, one of the group that impacted the most. Yeah, because all like all the entertainment venue were closed, or only small places that still open, small number of places that still open. Therefore, it's getting hard for them to find for money. Sometimes some sex workers trying to find the clients online, but again, when they do online, of course they still can find clients, but there are risks of violence, and also because the local regulation, Kathy, I mentioned to you before, some sex workers now are afraid. They have a big dilemma when they're going online, because they Indonesia has also the IT law that can make the sex workers getting into prison when they are stating they are sex workers trying to find clients. They put sexy pictures on the internet, so there are still dilemma for them. Even though now I know many sex workers now are going online, but there are still serious dilemma when they are working to find clients through online. And I think still relate to COVID, but also relate with the stigma and also the violence around sex workers. We find we found many anecdotal reports that actually having a lot of anxiety, depression, and there are no um, support for them so far. So that's why with OPSI we actually start to map out this, and we in the near future we will start the female sex workers and mental health study
Oh,
to tackle, to know better about this and to provide, to address the programmatic issues on mental health. So this is really complex situation
yeah.
with workers in Indonesia, and I haven't mentioned about HIV status. When you are a sex worker living with HIV, some sex workers and a lot of sex workers facing multiple stigma, being sex workers, being HIV positive, being people living with HIVs, those who are not cisgender person, like transgender, also facing stigma because of their gender identity or their sexual orientation when they are not heterosexual. So these multiple stigma also cause this it's like going in circle. It's also cause violence, it's also cause isolation, loneliness, it's also led to a mental health condition, and the poverty, because due to of COVID, due to the circumstances that make them harder and harder to find clients. It's also impact their health and mental health. So again, this is a serious situation for female sex workers' health. And in Indonesia, I think some places better than the other, because in some places people will let the sex workers work, but in other places it will be very, very hard for sex workers if their people around them knows that they are sex workers.
Yeah, oh my God, lots of challenges, it sounds like. For OPSI, do you know, like, is there something that is like the most important that OPSI wants to support and help? Or you know, I guess maybe if you can just share with me what are the things that OPSI does to help sex workers with these challenges?
Okay, yeah. So what OPSI does, actually a lot. So their work for first they work for the awareness of the sex workers regarding their rights, sex worker rights. So sex worker rights are human rights that sex workers also have reproductive rights, sexual rights, and all rights that belong to humans. So this awareness is really important, I think, for OPSI. Therefore,
Yeah.
one of their main activity is actually doing capacity building, awareness raising around human rights,
Yeah.
and sex workers is human rights.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think OPSI also always want to advocate sex work as work, because I think there are many views about sex works. One view is that all the sex workers are victim, or all the sex workers are people work as sex work because they are being trafficked. So the view that all of these people has no agency, they are being sold, they are being forced, they are being tricked to become sex workers. And based on my observation, and I think this is also a OPSI view, that not all sex workers are being trafficked. Not all sex workers are being tricked into their work right now. But some people are actually choose doing informed decision because this is their body and they choose to selling sex. That's why in OPSI view, I think this is also my personal view that because of body autonomy, then one person, whether it's a female, male, or transgender, they have the rights to choose what they want to do with their body. And if they want to do as a work as a sex work, then it's work. And so that's why OPSI always advocate. This is the second, I think the second point that OPSI see as a really important point, that they always advocate that sex work is work, that they want to help those who are being trafficked, the victim of trafficking, but for those who are by their own decision choose to work as sex workers, then OPSI always advocate this group. And I think the third one is the well-being, the healthy and well-being, the health and well-being of sex workers. OPSI works as part of Indonesian sex workers outreach program to ensure sex workers got the access to clinics, government clinics, private clinics, to provide them with tests, HIV tests, STI tests, in friendly manner and respect. And I think OPSI also works, the fourth point is also on the violence, because sex work is really close with violence. That's why as part of raising awareness on human rights, OPSI also do their work on how to address violence. So they do capacity building activities with a group of sex workers in district level to know what kind of violence, and this is quite interesting because of the stigma and also self-stigma. Many sex workers think when they are being punched, they are being verbally abused, it's normal because they are sex workers, and being like years and years receiving these derogatory comments, physical violence, they thought this is normal because of me working as sex worker. So it needs one community approach to actually unpack this belief and challenge that no, you don't deserve that. You deserve better. And even yes, you are sex workers, but no one have the rights to look down on you, to have like to doing verbal abuse to you. So OPSI also works on this. I think that's why I say a lot. And this, I think there is also one good work conducted by OPSI, that in during the COVID-19, I know now we still live in the pandemic, but I think in the first 2 years of the pandemic, a lot of sex workers' life is in very bad condition. That's why OPSI, with our support, they doing the what we call CVA, the cash voucher assistant. So helping those sex workers who are living with HIV and have no money to just to go to the clinics to take medicine, because the medicine you need to always take the medicine in order to keep you healthy. But because of the pandemic, they have no money at all. So OPSI did the cash voucher assistant to distribute cash for people living with HIV who are sex workers, so they can keep going to the clinics, take their medicine, using that money. So I think that's several of OPSI important work that they've been doing. And they also teach, I think they have what they call paralegal and community legal service. So this is linked to the violence issues. When sex workers are aware about their rights and they want to report the violence cases,
Yeah.
there are paralegals that have been trained, have been sensitized to assist the female sex workers or male or transgender sex workers, and link them with the legal aid organization in district, city, or provincial level. So the sex workers can report and also can continue the legal process of the violent cases that they are reporting.
Amazing. That's so much support. That's so good. I'm so happy to hear that. Especially, I remember you telling me about how, yeah, they think it's normal. Many sex workers think it's normal that yeah, I'm a sex worker, so violence just comes with the job, and that's heartbreaking, right? Have you noticed if in OPSI, if there has been challenges with maybe like working if there's any kind of policy changes that the organization is trying to make, like at the government level, in order to, help support sex workers more, but because of the stigma, because of conservatism, like, has there been pushback from the Indonesian government, things like that?
Yep. OPSI have been fighting a lot on the brothel closure regulation. They are working at national level and also at sub-national level. They're trying to defend and to scream that please don't close the brothel. Brothel is actually safe. And it's also makes the female sex workers or those who are working there and even the clients of sex workers also safer. I think OPSI have been involved in policy dialogue around them with the Ministry of Health, with the in national level, with the Ministry of Health, with the back then with the National AIDS Commission. And in provincial level, I think they also work with local district office to advocate on the brothel closure. And I think they also work on like developing a report. It's called shadow report because it's alternate report that complement the government report. So this is the human rights and the international human rights tools. So OPSI is part of those who are writing a shadow report as an alternate for government report. So government have their own report, but OPSI together with other community are documenting the cases like violence towards sex workers, especially those who are being conducted by the state, so like police or even health service provider. So OPSI document that, and then as part of the shadow report, they've been contributing to the international SIDO report. So I think in this matter, OPSI is quite advanced, so they are not working just on sub-national and national level, but together with other organization, non-government organization, and other community.
Yeah.
They also use the international tools of human rights to report the situation in Indonesia. So when they being prosecuted, when they are the lack of condoms available for them, when there are local regulation that impact on sex workers. OPSI will and has report on the Convention of Elimination Against Women, or we call CEDAW report. And it because of this report, there will be back and forward dialogue with national government of Indonesia. So I think this is another way of advocacy that OPSI has been doing today.
Okay, I see. Yeah. And speaking of lack of condoms for the sex workers, do they is because we just in the US recently there was a pass of that law, the Roe versus Wade, and do many sex workers in Indonesia have a problem with unplanned pregnancies during their work? And in Indonesia there is abortion is illegal, right? So how does OPSI help with that, and how does sex workers deal with that? If they're not being provided contraception, things like that. Yeah, would love to hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah. So first, I will talk about condoms later. But first of all, abortion is actually not illegal in Indonesia.
Okay.
So abortion is allowed, but only on very specific circumstances. Victim of rape.
Okay.
Because of rape, and I think if the and with rape, it's under, I think the pregnancy under 8 or 12 weeks. So it's very, very sometimes the survivor of rape don't really aware that they're already pregnant that time. And the second situation is that if the mother or the fetus is in danger, or they have health issues or something, then abortion will be allowed.
I see.
But aside from these two situations, you just couldn't do abortion.
I see.
The doctors, the health professional will be criminalized when they are doing this.
I see.
And if you ask, are there many sex workers need abortion? Based on my understanding, my observation, working with sex workers community, yes, they need. Actually, not just sex workers, right? A lot of women need it, but on sex workers, this is getting more complicated because with condom scarcity, they are not just dealing with the sexual transmitted infection, HIV, but they also need to deal with unwanted pregnancy. It's getting hard and hard to have condom these days. A lot of organization in local and national level is currently advocating this. I think this also have been focus of international organization. I know that Human Rights Watch and several international organizations also question or asking the Indonesian government regarding the condoms. So I think in the near future, the condoms will be made available. But I believe we still need to continue fight. So the condoms will be always available, especially for people who need it the most, which is the sex workers. So for female sex workers, they usually they've been using other methods of contraceptive. Some use injectables, and also using intrauterine devices. But I think condoms still important because it's the only contraceptive that can prevent HIV and STIs.
Yeah.
And with the condom scarcity, there will be more and more sex workers who get infected with STI, HIV.
Yeah.
And now we've been receiving report that saying that STIs numbers among sex workers is rising.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, that's why OPSI is one of the organization that advocate this. I knew also other national level organization who advocate for this so that the condom will be always available for them. So yes, the need around reproductive health for sex workers is really high. They need condoms, they will need loops, they need other methods of contraceptives, they need pap smear, they need vaccine. So I think that's why the entity of OPSI, the community who sit in the national level, who has the direct line communication with Ministry of Health is really important because they become the watchdog. So the member on the field will report to them, and they will continue to advocate, to question, to ask to the Ministry of Health and other stakeholders in national level, so that the sex workers' needs will be here. Because if not, I think we know that there are competing needs, and sometimes if no one will speak on your behalf, sometimes the issues is not will not being really focused on. So again, I think that is why it's really important to have this organization to fight for their own community. Of course, there are a lot of other communities who are also support them and also work in the same areas. But we really need to have one community-led organization who also have their feet on the ground on the grassroots level, so that they will continue advocate for the current issues faced by sex workers.
This is, there's a lot of support and to provide the needs of sex workers. It sounds like it can take a lot of money. So how does OPSI get funded? What is helping so that OPSI can do their work, right?
Yeah. So there are several fundings that OPSI has in the past. I do not know it all, but I know some. So they are receiving money from international NGO like EXFON, Mama Cass, feminist organization that supports sex workers. They also receive money from the bilaterals and also multilateral organization like the UN. But while this is happening or ever happening in the past, I am sad to say that now it's getting hard for the sex workers to get support from anywhere. So, for example, one of the biggest supporter of OPSI in the past has stopped their funding because of the competition or needs of the policy. So I think with the conservatism and all of those things that happening, now it's getting hard for this kind of organization to keep up with their needs.
Okay.
Because now getting funded is more hard, is harder than before. Now I think OPSI still receive support from the UN. They receive support from UNFPA, from UNA.
Uh-oh, is that me? Oh no, Asti's frozen. Am I frozen? Is that my internet?
No, you're still live.
Okay. Apparently I'm still live, everyone. Give us a moment. Asti, I'm sure will be right back on, and because I am not done talking to her. I'll message her and just make sure that everything's okay. Yeah, I think her internet might have gone down, so give us a moment, guys. Anyway, I guess I can just comment until she's back, but I think this is really interesting, hearing about all the different challenges, successes, or just the ways that OPSI helps, because I think it's so fascinating that there's so much stigma here in this country around sex work, and so much religion and government that there's so many blocks there to help sex work. Oh, yay, you're back.
Sorry.
No worries, it happens. That's okay.
I think the issue of doing Zoom with this bandwidth, sometimes I just kick out and
Okay. No worries, we'll just keep going. You were saying.
So when was what, do you remember what the when it stopped?
I think it was exactly when you got kicked off. But you were now I'm like blanking what you were just talking about. But I could move on and ask you my next question that I want to know about. I mean, you were talking about how it was harder for OPSI to get funded, right? Was there a final thought there that you wanted to share?
Yeah, I think the point is that now it is really important to support them.
Yeah.
Because as much as they try, I know they try. They write. I've been supporting them, writing proposals,
Yeah.
Meeting people, advocate, lobby, but it's just hard because it's competing needs.
Yeah.
Especially with the COVID. The COVID situation goes to COVID.
Right.
Therefore, it's really, really important to support this kind of organization at the moment.
Right, absolutely. So, well, how can people, I guess more like individuals rather than other organizations, but like how do you think individuals can help or support OPSI in their work?
Yeah, I think this is actually one of the important part that one of the innovation or the how to doing things differently that needs to be done. And I'm happy that OPSI also met you because when OPSI connected with Love Lost Doll, I think it's another example on how to doing things differently in this kind of situation. So I think it's really
Okay, she'll catch up. It's not my internet.
All kind of support will be benefit for OPSI. So their money is one of the important things, but it's not all just about money. So when you're sharing your skills, knowledge, for OPSI or other community-based organization, there actually a lot can be done. If you're influencer, you can talk about their issues. More people will have understanding about their issues. You help advocate for their needs. A lot of things that can be done by individual. And I think Katie, I'm so happy to meet you and also to link you with OPSI, because your work is I think this is the first time for OPSI to have support from individual
Oh my God.
like artists like you. Yeah.
I'm so honored.
So I think that's why I say this is another way of doing things that if OPSI will do more and more in the future,
Yeah.
then it will be mean so much to them. Yeah, because let me take an examples for what happening in the US. I think this happening in the past when there are global gag rules introduced, and a lot of people going to are actually support the Planned Parenthood. Or in the past, when our organization the budget being cut by Donald Trump administration, many individual then support their donate and support to us. So I think yes, the situation is getting harder and harder to find support from the government, international donors, or the UN, or multilaterals and bilaterals. If the RC will survive, and more than survive, they will thrive. Because I just want to say that don't estimate your knowledge, skills, and your influence to your sphere of influence. So if you even if you don't know how to support, if you already want to support, that's already means something.
Yeah.
You just need to connect with and then trying to understand what their needs and see from there what you can do for them. I believe there are many things can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, having the desire to help is definitely the start, right? Uh-oh, can you hear me? I can't tell. I mean, I have just one final question. Just please, internet gods, just help me ask this final question that I really want to know about. Oh no, okay, wait. Yes, okay, you're back again. Awesome. I just have one final question, but no, we heard the end. Don't worry.
Okay.
The final question is, I would love to just end also on a high note, and I would love to hear like if you have a story or something that you've seen since working with OPSI that you feel like was a success story, or something that just makes you, your heart swell. Like, please share with us.
Okay. So you know Wawan, right?
Yeah.
Wawan is the national coordinator of OPSI. He is male sex workers. he worked previously as a dancer, but he and now he is saying it publicly, so I can share it with you. He is living with HIV. His life is actually one of represent all many sex workers in Indonesia. They know their status, their HIV status later. So one day said to me, if only I knew about HIV, if only I'm informed about HIV earlier, then I don't need to I don't need to be infected with HIV, because I know how to prevent by myself. But because I don't know, then I got HIV. And he also used drugs and got in jail because of that. So although this is a sad story, but it later on make him want to work more for his community, because he said, I don't want to see another sex workers who don't get access to HIV tests, or who get diagnosed later on their life. So that I need to work every day for them. And I know Wawan when he just start as a outreach worker. That time I can see his patient. And I think it's like 5 years ago, but by the time he knew he learned about like public speaking, advocacy, how to lobby, how to convey the message, how to speak to the government official, to people from Ministry of Health, how to communicate with donors. Then I think I can really see his leadership skills really growing. So I think from outreach worker, he is able then to be a national coordinator of OPSI, and then he can influence and also contribute to regulation programs that involve sex workers. Another story is I have many stories actually. I know that I've been sharing a sad story, challenging story about sex workers, but trust me, I also have another heartwarming stories that every time I remember this, I'm happy, and I'm really get like extra energy, because I'm to whom I'm working for. So I also know female sex workers who able to send 4 of her kids to schools, and all of their children is actually now finish their school and have a good work. So this is one of the pride of sex workers, because they can support their family. They can send their children to schools. I also met someone who previously being trafficked. She is one of the victim or survivor of the trafficking. But later on, she think that, wait, I think this is actually that the work that I can do, I'm good at. So from a person who are survivor, then become those someone who has agency, who can choose, and now she is one of the OPSI member and working at Jakarta with OPSI. continue fighting for better life of female sex workers.
Yes.
I can go and on, but trust me, it will be another session, I think,
Yes.
to share the heartwarming, the success story, the beautiful story of sex workers, because like life itself is not just full of
Yeah.
sadness. There are another side also that also full of good stories.
Yeah, I can imagine. We'll do a part two to this. Amazing. Thank you so much, Asti. I really, really appreciate again that you did this with me and that you gave us an hour of your time to tell us so much, anything and everything about OPSI. And yeah, that was a really, really nice conversation. I'm so happy I got to learn more. Yeah, just thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, we will end the show here. Thank you, everyone who joined and everyone who's watching the replay. I hope this is useful. Do you wanna? I mean, okay, on the Twitch, there's OPSI's website. Everyone can see that it's www.opsi-network.org. Is there anything else that we should mention about OPSI before we end, Asti?
I think just if you really want to support sex workers and you do not know how, just get connected with them, and I think you will find a way.
Amazing. Love it. Thank you again. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Ending the stream, guys. Bye bye.